Alright, everyone, welcome back, and we're here for another episode of House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 7, The Red Sewing. So we're about half an hour in. We're half an hour into the hour that it premiered. Yeah, so we're like half an hour late. But at least the title is showing, so it's an hour and 4 minutes. Not the longest one. I think that goes to episode 2, an hour and 9 minutes. That could also, it might include the inside the episode. So here it says Astraneer looks to gain an advantage by unusual means. Daemon pressures a young liege lord to rise up his bannerman. Alright. I can see the tested arm, but alright, so let's just get started. Again, we have Corliss here and the little new sign. So let's just start. But it hasn't been going that bad. Again, only 2 episodes left.
I need more dragon riders.
It's fine, establishing shot.
Before the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, with a dragon of House Targaryen. I had no design upon it. What do you want? To learn the ways of dragon riders and to serve my queen.
Well, they started a riot. Justice is served, I suppose. Oh, but this is your whisper, your Jasper, not mine. But if you consider it valuable, perhaps you could deliver it and find favor with Aemond yourself.
Can we hear Aemon's speech? Oh.
That is less clear. It must surely be the Lady Rhaena. Left to the wind.
Right, it's like tertiary. I'm sorry. Oh. So is that supposed to be like maybe a relative to the other guy? Even 4 at the time. It's near the hanging all the rat catchers. Just get the one responsible for aiding in the Prince Jaharis' death. Well, maybe if you hadn't sent Rhaenys and Meleys there.
I can find others with a more direct line of breathing.
Cool. Oh.
My lord. My lord. How you have come up in the world.
I wish to ask for leave to relinquish my part as a shipwright in your service. There are good men and strong who can take my place.
Well done.
Are you still at Harrenhal, Damon? I thought you would have left.
But you did not have to pursue such savagery. You did it because you wanted to.
Our young lord speaks truly.
Seize him.
Oh.
Fucking do this.
Oh, right in his final days. Right? Crypt Keeper Viserys. Right, so his cane broke, and why is he? Has enough time even passed for his knee to even begin to be attempted to have physical therapy?
But I'm afraid you must work harder.
in the blood.
My brother was ever restless, yearning for some sign of his worth.
Oh, so we're getting Allison. Horse riding. That's it.
With your Queen's Guard, heir to the Dunfall, these people are courageous. Mongrels.
Oh. Yeah. To be fair, maybe. To be fair, his father is possibly Harbor Strong, but maybe more so in this show. In the show.
House Targaryen is the blood of the dragon. If any may lay claim to it, what are we then?
The rightful rulers of the Seven Kingdoms.
What if one of your base-born, silver-haired dragon riders decides he wants to rule the Seven Kingdoms? When you took Harwin Strong into your bed, did
Oh.
you favor him, or did it not cross your mind?
Jacaerys.
I'm no fool, Mother. Just, I can't be sure it's all true.
Well, of course not. If he does choose to go, I really hope he's able to claim a dragon.
She used to tell me I was no different to her brother's boys. Viserys and Daemon. But I was
Right.
ashamed of her.
So she was a bastard.
I tried to make my way with my own hands. I could not protect you. I could not keep our girl alive.
Oh, she died. Right, there were many silver-haired court jesters, bards, right, that had silver hair, and it's not exclusive to Targaryens, but in Westeros there are also silver-haired people that have no ancestry to Old Valyria. Lots of silver hair, right? We get to see the guy at the bar, or the keep, or the tavern. So who wants to go first? This is an abomination. What is their order again? Or is this the fate for the seventh face? I think it's just in case he might get a little bit trigger happy, or draw happy in this case, right? The opportunity of a lifetime. So I guess this dragon isn't burning the crowd like the last. Oh. Oh, well, I guess there you go. Maybe. So did he do it? Oh, it just pushed him. If that dragon wanted you dead, I'm sure. Come on, we know he's a bumbling idiot, but... Oh, is everyone calm? Oh. Come on, you bumbling idiot. We know you've seen what happens when the dragons really don't hit people. Oh, so did he claim it? So is it true?
When he does, the High Tower host will be unstoppable.
All right, so who's on the dragon this time? Oh, it's Silverwing. So, the bumbling idiot. Oh yeah, that was fairly obvious. I mean, why would he go to Dragonstone where all the dragons are? Oh, the Bronze Fury is up there too. Oh, she tried. Yeah, she needs Damon there too. Yeah. Alright, so that was House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 7, The Red Sowing. It was good. It started off a little slow there, and then of course we picked up. Right, so we picked up. Right, and then you see, right, getting a little slow with Rhaenyra and Alan of Hall. And then, of course, right, as they brought up, like, Allison having the cut on her forearm, similar to Rhaenyra in Season 1. And then with them, Laris and, I don't remember this other guy's name. He hasn't really played that much other than, I'm sure you probably would notice it there, but, right, so we have Sir Laris, Strong, Clubfoot, talking to the other guy at the council about, well, he's trying to do political favors for him, and as him being the master of whispers. Then see the master of whispers saying, this is probably the type of whisper best left to the wind. Not wanting to say anything. Right, them chatting about what to do with Adam of Hall, right? Corliss congratulating his illegitimate kid. And again saying, of course, he doesn't know that, right, they're full Deliria, but not Dragon Lords, right? They're not necessarily Dragon Riders, right? Then he questions their mother, right? He asks Alan, no, not Alan. The other son, who I'm forgetting right now. Either way, onwards. Right, so he asked the silver-haired one about their mother, and well, maybe she may have had some Dragon Lord Dana. Maybe one of her ancestors was a Dragon Lord. Or may or may not be a Targaryen. Remember, Targaryens are not the only Dragon Lords. Then, of course, Daemon still being Harrenhal. He must bring out justice to the guy. That even though he gave him that order, the other guy did it to such a savage end that that's clearly he'd be called to a summons and answer, and Daemon would be the one to execute the order. Right, then of course we got Aegon right there, being pushed on the by Maester Orwild to the instruction of Sir Larys Strong. And again, so who's responsible for possibly tampering with the cane of Aegon in that case? Because there's no way that should, right? You're telling me the crown can't afford fine craftsmanship for a cane for the freaking king? No. And of course, Larry's saying, well, he may not rest in a long time, right? There's so much happening that he might not have a chance to. No. I confused Alan of Hall with Adam of Hall, right? Right. So Adam of Hall is the non-silver hair one, and Alan of Hall is his silver hair first illegitimate kid. And of course, Rhaena, they're just that hasn't really contributed much. I mean, we already knew that they were being sent off. Alicent more or less having some privacy in the woods and going, oh no, it's only one Kingsguard. And then of course Jay's finally asking about his illegitimacy and the precedence that it sets. Just getting anyone that may have Dragon Lord DNA, though the Rhaenyra seems to be bent on specifically them being Targaryen DNA, right? Well, mainly Targaryen blood, right? Any Dragon Lord ancestry, which Rhaenyra in this case chooses Targaryen, specifically Targaryen Dragon Lord ancestry, but it could be anyone. And again, we have Chase here asking about, well, if anyone asks about, right, the precedences they're setting in this case being, well, anyone who can ride a dragon has a claim to the throne, right? And again, succession being a problem here. 'Cause this whole Dance of the Dragons is based on succession. Not necessarily purity, but there is it's mildly there, right? With her not exactly having pure judgment, but that they don't really necessarily equate purity to the ability to be able to ride a dragon, which is probably what Rhaenyra, Sarah and Rhaenyra are thinking about, right? Their purity doesn't necessarily equal dragon riding abilities. But based on that sort of opens the door, right? The rightful family to rule, right? Just because there are other dragon riders doesn't mean they're gonna be the rightful ruler, right? And he does ask, well, I mean, yeah, the way he does see it is as any mongrel out there, right? Because they're raised in King's Landing among the other peasants, right? They're probably not being taught Valyrian, specifically High Valyrian, and they're probably not being, again, trained in, like, right by the Master of Arms. Whoever they are, well, it might be Kristen Cole, right? They're not really getting the education, the other things that would come along with aristocrats, right? The education, the poise, and in some cases, right, the dragon riding abilities. Right, so Chase isn't necessarily wrong in this case. Rhaenyra has more or less pushed forward, right? She's made it a bit more progressive in terms of who would have a place with the royals, right? If you're able to ride a dragon, but then again, that is more or less progressing the precedence of, well, now they could possibly eventually have a seat on the Iron Throne if they eventually, like maybe 1 or 2 generations, can figure out a way to mingle with the rightful family, right? Just because they're at their, right, because now they'll be at their court, and then from the court they could probably get a seat at the council and then move up from there. They're essentially inviting anyone that lacks the education, right, the poise, all the things that come with being an aristocrat in that case, to have a seat, while they might not necessarily understand it, right? It's similar to how when they're choosing policy in that case, a commoner or a mongrel that lacks maybe the political sway, or maybe won't listen to that, may not agree with their ruling if they do end up having a seat on the council, and may fight it, and that could be disastrous for their rule, because now it may destabilize certain rulings in that case. It may destabilize that, right? Because if they get the majority vote in that case and they vote wrong, well, then whose fault is it that included, like, people that lack the chance to understand why maybe why they maybe should go to war in that case, maybe why they shouldn't go to war, or maybe why the small folk don't get more, right? They may be overly sympathetic to the small folk, whereas in right, if the rulers can come crashing down, then there may not be much order with King's Landing, right? You need you need the rulers to understand the politics to make decisions, and they're the ones that have the gold and overall the power to make of decisions that may bring stability and have their stability that they want, where small folk may have just be brash, or in their case may not make all the, or in that case may not make all the decisions that would necessarily be the best one in the long term. But again, it just might be more likely for the right, they're not brought up in the right keep, right, with all the aristocrats education, etc. And it does open the gates for them to just they may have power that may be misused a bit more easily. Right. So think of you if you would have Damon, but without the education, but maybe just as much as the arrogance or recklessness in that case. Yeah, it'd be like a worse situation than Damon, right? Again, it might not just necessarily be the high Valyrian education. Maybe the tactician part, right? Whether they're skilled, trained fighter, right? The chows and the politicking, of course, because that's mainly what helps them shape that. But again, the politics is tied more with their other education that they do. But even just because they're educated in that doesn't mean that necessarily they'll always make the right political choice, right? There may be more cunning on the other side, right? Like, again, we saw Tywin Lannister, what he did at the Red Wedding. But again, something similar, just because you know the politics and the education doesn't necessarily guarantee, or, well, it improves it, but no, they could always be like, you could always get like a Tywin that's probably going to do something really slimy, and, well, now it's over. And I guess in a way he's right, but they did it to such a savage extent and against their customs that of guest right? He broke guest right in his military station. So again, that's maybe one of the parts where the small folk would be against. They would be against it in that case. But Tywin is terribly wrong. I mean, did it guarantee him his seat? But again, maybe a more effective ruler would have had a similar outcome, but without breaking guests, right? But yet still have the briefness of, well, there you go, it's resolved. But yeah, the precedent set by Rhaenyra is like, well, now those guys are on there, and now those lowborns are there, and he is technically also maybe not exactly public knowledge about her son's legitimacy. But even if it were to come out that, even if everyone knew, like, more or less they do, yeah, there's no way. Like, no, he's still your successor in that case, right? He's been brought up in the Red Keep. He's able to ride a dragon. Even if they were to say, well, maybe now it's proven it's legitimate. That doesn't necessarily make the others illegitimate offspring kind any more valid. He's still the queen's trueborn son. Well, albeit by illegitimate means, but no, it's still the firstborn. It still follows the basic succession rules, right? If Rhaenyra did have an actual firstborn son, right? Or maybe she managed to actually get pregnant with sort of Laenor after Chase, and maybe you can have a succession dispute in that case, right? Because, well, then that's how she shares trueborn, right? Not illegitimate, and on top of that, it's both corresponding, and not necessarily. In this case, that hasn't happened, so no, it's still Chase. He's still got nothing to really worry about, but he should be, again, a little bit concerned about that, but maybe not to the extent that it's now, and it is brought up way too late. I mean, this should have been addressed like maybe at the end of season 1 or in the beginning of season 2. I mean, at this point, we're almost at the end of season 2. I mean, war's been progressing, and now you're going to ask this. I mean, it makes sense because she is recruiting them, but maybe he should have had to talk of him being a bastard, like maybe towards the beginning, and then maybe this point be like, well, I mean, are we going to allow the other people because it's not all that different? Again, they've more or less mixed them. I think it could have been better served if his illegitimacy question could have been a little sooner in season 2, and this part would just be fine. Like the other illegitimate blood being addressed here would have been fine still. But again, here just kind of bumbled. They've more or less bundled that together. Right. Right. We got the I can't remember like the immediate. I think it said it right there. Right, and then right, everyone being shipped off. There you go. Oh right, the dragon keepers, which right. And then he turns back. Oh wait, there's a trap. Right, because he set a trap. Right. Got a great shot here. Beautiful. I didn't really put his name in that part. Overall, it's a solid episode. Very solid. Yeah, maybe after just maybe the first 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe the Damon's episode, but other than that, it's solid. Right, as opposed to the. Right, so I guess it's it. I'll see you when I'm going to try to get all this out fairly quickly.